Blessings. We are back with another video. A couple quick announcements. If you're interested in signing up for classes that I offer, the way to do that is go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page, patreon.com /Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I. And tier 3 is the way you want to go. That's the tier you want to join. That gets you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon, in addition to the group ritual we do together at the end of the month. Again, that's patreon.com /Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I, and that will give you access to those classes. All right. Also, if you're interested in a spiritual reading or a spiritual consultation, I offer various different readings. Klupathic demonic readings, Egyptian oracle readings, Santa Muerte readings, deity readings, shadow work readings. For a full list of readings or how to book a spiritual consultation or a reading, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you information on how to do that. Also, the 6th annual journey of the Black Adept Conference is in full effect. You can sign up and register for that right now. It's a 4-day event, October 19th to the 22nd, here in Hollywood, Florida. Thursday night meet and greet on the 19th, the 20th, and the 21st. Classes, workshops, presentations with a group ritual both nights in the evening, followed by a group dinner and some socializing, hanging out, and having a little bit of fun. On Sunday the 22nd, it closes the event out with a Q&A session I'll be doing from noon to 4, question and answer class, and that closes the event out. That's October 19th to the 22nd in Hollywood, Florida. Close to the beaches, minutes from the airport, right near hotels, Airbnbs, you name it. You could also attend the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference virtually, which gives you access to the classes on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. So if you want information on how to sign up for the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, all one word. Also, check us out on Facebook, 2 words, Primordial Chaos. And also keep in mind, all this content is now being uploaded to the Primordial Chaos podcast, which can be found on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. The direct link to the podcast, my contact email address, and a direct link to the Patreon page to sign up for classes. All that is in the description box of the video that you are currently watching right now. All right. Having said that, I wasn't able to shoot videos for yesterday, but I wanted to do a continuation, a video that's connected to the previous video that I shot a couple of days ago on some of the Sith philosophy and dark side alchemy, mastering the will, right? It's kind of where I left off or started to allude to in the last video, that truly peace is alive. There's only joy through your strength and your passion, right? Something that, as I said in the previous video, is in Surah Darkness of the Devil's Quran. Mastering your will is one of the key components in understanding Sith philosophy. And as I said, we use the Sith philosophy, or how I utilize it and teach people that take the Sith classes that I do on Patreon. You have to master your will, okay? Mastering your will, enforcing your willpower, also involves discipline. Magic itself and getting yourself to that point of self-mastery where you elevate yourself, right, on a spiritual level to becoming a god or a goddess, is having a full understanding of your will, your willpower, and how that works. So let's back up again, because this will be a quick tutorial. But let's back up, and we need to analyze a few things in here. In order to master your willpower, to strengthen your will, and know how to enforce your will, especially when you're working magic and occult rituals, and you're tapping into what they call on the Sith path the dark side philosophy, which again is just another terminology for tapping into that primordial chaos, the void, the abyss, the deep aspects of your subconscious mind where your true power really lies. There's a lot of discipline in that, self-discipline, right? So what a Sith tries to do in understanding dark side alchemy is, how do you take your weaknesses and turn them into strengths? A lot of it goes back to analyzing your personality. What is the root of why you have the personality you have it? And it's usually linked to the characteristics and the behaviors you exhibit on a daily basis. So let me give you an example. If you are very emotional and reactive, and you're not, grounded and harmonized in your emotions and know how to facilitate them at the right place, in the right time, in the right moment, that's a bad character flaw. If you have no self-discipline when it comes to understanding the doctrine of indulgence on the occult and the left-hand path, we must indulge to experience and experiment to determine what is right for us on this path of self-mastery. But if you don't have the ability to indulge with discipline, it can be seriously troubling for your entire life. It can cause problems. It can cause problems in many different facets of your life. Your financial life, your personal life, your family life, your sexual life. So let's talk a little bit about some of these habits that you could have that could be self-destructive and could be preventing you from strengthening your willpower, mastering your will, and working magic effectively. So let's look at two things on a daily basis that we, male and female, are faced with regularly that are indulgences: food and sex. Let's talk about it. Okay? If you have no discipline over what you eat and you just eat recklessly, common sense is going to tell you that's going to cause serious problems for you down the road. Obesity, could be diabetes, other heart problems, other illnesses, right? So when one willingly knows this but continues that behavior, they are weakening their mental willpower and fortitude, okay? So when it comes, per se, with food, you must use common sense and reasoning on what to eat and how to eat. And it doesn't mean, as I've said in previous videos, when it comes to food and diet, it doesn't mean you can't indulge in some, foods you like that may not be the best for you, but it just means you can't do it every day or regularly. Okay? That's strengthening your will, right? And your will is always tested when sometimes something is put in front of you and you might be tempted to do the wrong thing that's self-destructive to yourself. Now, if I don't do the wrong thing because of any religious or spooky reasons, that's where you're at. In that moment, you're faced with the challenge of how to proceed. So indulgence in regards to, say, food in that regards, that would be an example of how one strengthens their will. Now, sexual energy and sex force, okay? This can be a very uplifting and powerful energy when one taps into, but one must understand when coming to harnessing, absorbing, working with, and understanding one's own sexual energy, you must understand it in its complete totality. When it's only fueled by just lust and lust only, that's usually going to lead you down a path of recklessness and self-destructive habits. And I keep referring to self because it's all about self. So if you have no control over your sexual appetite at all, if you're addicted and controlled by the sex force and sex energy to the point where you can't discipline yourself, that you'll take any risk, do anything, fuck anything that moves and walks, and you just don't care, that's a bad habit and characteristic trait. And that's going to completely weaken your willpower. Okay? We as practitioners, as I said in the past, on this path, We know how to work with the sexual energy aspects of indulgence in all facets, whether it's for just lust, pleasure, and also for spiritual growth in regards when it comes to sex magic, sexual energy, and working with sex energy in a spiritual perspective through rituals for specific reasons. So a good way a Sith practitioner uses that philosophy in regards to being and establishing themselves well-rounded, understanding their sexual energy, knowing how to tap into it in all of those facets for lust, pleasure, and for personal spiritual growth. But again, when you recklessly indulge in sex, the sex force and sex energy with absolutely no personal discipline, that's going to create serious problems for you. Again, you're creating self-destructive habits. You have a lack of discipline, which therefore is going to create a lot of unwanted, destructive things happening around you. That again, are self-created. By what? By your choices and your decisions you make. So, understanding of how to enforce your will, how to strengthen your will, and how to become more powerful and self-empower yourself. And everything I basically just said, really, Sith dark side alchemy and philosophy really has a lot of overtones of shadow work. Because when I talked about in the beginning of this video, how does one take their weaknesses and turn them into strengths? That's through shadow work, or unlocking the shadow self or the hidden self. And the Sith practitioner taps into the dark side of their nature. Because regardless of what that is in how we understand it, or lack of understanding, that's where the true core or essence of us lies. And everything that comes with that shadow or hidden self, as we know, is not always a very pleasant thing. It's almost like unlocking the beast, unleashing the beast within, right? Because we all have that aspect in our nature, but because we were never taught to harmonize those energies, majority of us coming up through Western spiritual philosophy, with this concept of good and bad, God and devil, avoid the bad, stay away from all of that, pray it away, meditate it away, don't feed into it. All the worst advice you can give anybody that's trying to master themselves. To move the farther away from their shadow or hidden self. Move farther away from a lot of those things that are negative. Rather than address them, let's just sweep it under the rug, pray it away, or pretend it doesn't exist. That is a very terrible approach, because as I said, with more resistance comes stronger persistence. Who you really are is going to come to the surface regardless. Let me just explain this. Okay, you can put on a facade. You can walk around, live your life pretending to be something you're not, because you're so bent on portraying an image to everybody around you of how you want them to see you, and this and that and the other. As time goes on, what will happen, and you have no control over it in the sense that the real you will merge to the surface. But when you've been avoiding it, suppressing it, and when it does come to the surface, it's like I say sometimes, that old saying, when it rains, it pours. But because some individuals choose to avoid this part of themselves, they don't want to address the dark shadow aspect or the hidden aspect of themselves. It's like when it does come to the surface, it's too overwhelming for them to deal with, because they've been running from it and hiding from it and pretending that it doesn't exist for so long. And that approach just doesn't work. So a Sith tries to master their will. And in that mastery of their will, they're able to enforce their will upon anything in any situation. And part of mastering what we call black magic, yes, reprogramming the subconscious mind, but also being able to enforce your will upon a situation for the best beneficial outcome in regards to your needs, right? And that's self-empowerment. That's why in the Sith code, it says passion is my power, right? Just if anything, regardless. And again, to understand Sith philosophy, you don't got to be a wizard in understanding the stories of the Sith. This is just a across-the-board wisdom and knowledge that applies to everything and everybody. And if you don't remember anything, remember that phrase constantly. Passion is my power. So if passion fuels your power, I'm going to pose the question again that I asked in the previous video. How passionate are you about what you're doing in your life? Okay? And what length are you willing to go to achieve? What are you willing to do to become or get to the goal of what it is you desire to be in life? Okay? If passion is your power, question that. How bad do you want it? And how much energy, fire, and passion is behind what you're desiring? This is the key question. Because if you really, really want something that badly, and you have goals, and you want to achieve them, you must be passionate about those goals and how you go about doing that. Okay? Because if there's no passion and energy driving you to achieve what it is you desire and what it is you want to become, then you're going to fail and fall flat on your face. See, when you get to a certain point in your journey on this path, you will periodically look back at your progress. And what do I mean by that? You'll start asking yourself, and you can do this, ask yourself these questions as I throw these out as you're watching this video. Are you happy currently right now in your life? Are you doing what it is you want to do to make a living, live the life you want to live, and to be happy? Are you satisfied at where you're at in life at this very current moment? And if no, and I'm sure there's some no's in there, the next question is, why do you think that is? Where do you see yourself the next 10 years? Are you going in that direction? If not, why? If things are not manifesting, ask yourself, what could be the reason I'm not obtaining my results or my goal? Could it be your passion, your desire is not in alignment, your intent is not in alignment, which is connected, all that stuff is connected? But start asking yourself the tough questions. And if you're not happy in all those areas of your life, then you need to start devising a plan to get to that point. Because if you answer no to some of those questions and you don't have any solutions at all, then that's a problem. That's confirmation your passion isn't fueled with the energy it needs for you to obtain and succeed your goals. So now let's finish real briefly with mental discipline. Having said all that about indulging, behavior, characteristics, your personality, fueling your passion, I think you get the points clear. Now you must start to implement disciplined practices to steer you away from being reckless and self-destructive to yourself. What things are you putting in place to make those changes? Because as I said, we all got shit that we'd like to improve about ourselves. So anybody that says they don't, they full of shit. Okay? Capital F. Full of shit. So now when you look at and you've identified problem areas in your life where you know you need improvement, this is where the discipline comes in. What practices are you going to start implementing to make that change? Okay? So, let me give you an example. It could be you're reckless with money or with food. Right? But in this case, with food, you would start to maybe look at your proportion intake. You would start to look at what exactly the type of things you're eating that might need adjustment to bring that area of improvement in your life. I'm just giving you some quick ones. Let's say it's money. Maybe you have terrible spending habits. Maybe you're an impulse buyer that you just don't think how purchases are going to impact you long term. You're just so on impulse, you just buy things right there in the moment, and I'm going to figure it out later, which can be a very self-destructive habit and cause a lot of chaos in your finances, right? So the money thing could be a huge issue. So how do I implement disciplines by reversing that trend per se of being an impulse buyer? Well, maybe you got to actually write out a budget, and also in that budget include something to keep you in order with how you distribute your money, a criteria, a guideline. That can go a very long way in fixing a negative or a weakness or a personality or a character trait or a character flaw, and turning that around by now understanding how to work with the money, understanding what you need to do in regards to how to distribute and spend that money, and not put yourself in situations that's going to cause you hardship. Okay? So these would be practices on how you would do that. So you start implementing the disciplinary practices. I'm just giving you simple things, everyday things in life. Now, the last thing, I'll throw this in there, and also look at your spiritual life and your spiritual practice. Are you managing your time? Are you bullshitting with yourself? Are you always finding excuses of why you can't get something done? Are you lazy when it comes to being consistent in your practice? You get the point, right? That will seriously weaken your mental fortitude and willpower, and it'll make your magic weak because there's no passion, there's no drive, there's no desire. And that's a critical one, because your spiritual drive is the foundational tool to all of this. Okay, so I think you get the point. Okay, without rambling on, because I want to keep these to short tutorials. These are all things you can implement, disciplinary practices that you can implement to strengthen your mental willpower and enforce your will for the beneficial outcome of things you're trying to obtain, desire, and achieve your goals. All right? Hopefully that helps. I'll be talking more about, Sith philosophy, Sith spiritual practices, because it's very in line with Luciferian magic and self-mastery. It's a very Luciferian path. It's a path of apotheosis, self-mastery. To me, it's all in alignment with what we do. All right? Having said that, if you need to reach out to me, KHNUM19@gmail.com. That's KHNUM19@gmail.com. If you need information on how to book a reading, a spiritual consultation, if you want to also sign up for the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference, my contact email, the direct link to the podcast, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes, all of that is in the description box of this video that you are currently watching. That's the way to get at me. Until next time, next video, we'll talk soon. Infernal blessings.